My opponent, Maria Cantwell, makes a fool of herself and Washington State at the Zuckerberg Senate hearings. Coming up next, from the campaign couch, on Deceptions of the Ages News. Hello everybody and welcome to Deceptions of the Ages News. Before we get going, of course, I need to ask you guys, if you don't mind, I'd like you to hit that subscribe button. That way you will get all of the latest updates on Deceptions of the Ages News. So the first and only topic of today is going to be this issue with this senator from Washington State who I am very much hoping to replace before she embarrasses us all into infinity. She is my opponent in Washington State for the Senate seat that is up this year. So we're going to look at her performance in the Zuckerberg hearings and how completely much and how phony those Facebook hearings were. Now, before we continue any farther, just let me point out, if you don't know already, that when Facebook came out and started getting startup capital, Mark Zuckerberg got a lot of money from intelligence agencies, and got money from intelligence agencies. And so that whole platform is a surveillance platform that spies on everybody around the world, and we all know that it's used in domestic surveillance as well. So all of this stuff that they're talking about in the hearing is absolutely ludicrous, and it's just a big show. But it gets even worse than that, but I'm going to save that final surprise for the end of this video. Now, I'm going to talk about specifically not your senator who, and all these hearings was just a way for these senators who are mostly Democrats up for re-election this summer, like my opponent, to give them a chance to look like they actually know what they're doing. And we're just going to find out how well that worked out with the senator from Washington State. All right, so what I'm going to do here, and I hope this isn't too boring for you, but I just want you to know I wouldn't normally do this. I'm a big guy into paraphrasing, but you just have to know this because I couldn't make this stuff up. So I'm just going to start with this question that Zuckerberg asked, and the question was, or that Maria Cantwell asked. She asked, "Do you know who Palantir is?" What a question. I think most people know who Palantir is. Actually, I didn't until I looked it up yesterday, but found some interesting information. Zuckerberg's response, "I do." And then she asks, "Some people have referred to them as Stanford Analytica. Do you agree?" So Stanford Analytica, this is a reference to this Cambridge Analytica who supposedly influenced the election. And now just let me point out before we go any farther, what is a loaded question? It is a question that has a lot of information because nobody cares about the answer. And that's what we're going to get a lot of here. The other thing is all of these questions that they're asking are all just for the sake of sound bites, right? And so that these fake media stations can make up these fantastic headlines to make it look like this worthless person is actually doing something or is aware of what's going on around them. So let's just continue on. So do you know who Palantir is? And I do. And then she says, "Some people have referred to them as Stanford Analytica. Do you agree?" And Mark Zuckerberg says, "Senator, I have not heard that." And then she says, "Do you think Cambridge Analytica's press reports are showing people how to do these tactics?" Senator, I don't know. Then she asks, Do you think Palantir has ever scraped data from Facebook? I mean, scraped. And the answer from Mark Zuckerberg, Senator, I'm not aware of that. And then she asks, do you think that during the 2016 election campaign, as Cambridge Analytica was providing support to the Trump campaign under Project Alamo, it makes it sound kind of racist, doesn't it? The Americans against all those Mexicans. Were there any Facebook people involved in that sharing of technique and information? And as Zuckerberg, if you watch these hearings, as he's talking to her, every time he says senator, you can see the question in his mind. How did you ever get to be a senator? So let's just continue. Answer from Zuckerberg, Senator, we provided support to the Trump campaign, similar to what we provide to any advertiser or campaign who asks for it. Any advertiser or campaign, like the Clinton campaign. But that question somehow never came up. Okay, so then she says, so that was a yes. And it was such a loaded question, everybody forgot what it was. And then Zuckerberg asks, what was the question? And he asks, can you repeat specifically? And so she repeats the question, and he says, what? I don't know. I don't know. The answer to all his questions. So there are some more questions that our rocket scientist senator threw at Mark Zuckerberg. Have you heard of total information awareness? Now get ready, there's a history lesson coming. Total, no, I do not. I don't know what it is, and Zuckerberg acts confused, which is a little bit interesting considering the fact that it is a spy platform, and he probably does know what it is. And as I said yesterday, in my campaign briefing, there was a meeting beforehand where the rules were laid out, and we talked about the rules yesterday, and we're going to talk about them a little bit when I finish with this. But Zuckerberg acts kind of weird, kind of surprised, because why is she talking about intelligence gathering when I'm sure they were told not to talk about intelligence gathering for Facebook? But that could just be me. I don't know. So anyway, she gives the history lesson like she knows, okay, as if she's an expert in this, okay. Total information awareness was a 2013 John Ashcroft program and others trying to get geopolitical data to influence a process. Wow, now doesn't that sound really amazingly intelligent? To get geopolitical data to influence a process. What does that really mean? To find out how people are going to vote and then try to influence them. Well, gee, I hope that no advertiser on Madison Avenue or in Los Angeles or around the world or on Wall Street has ever tried to find out somebody's opinion about something and then try to influence their opinion. Okay, and no talk about the Democrats either. No talk about the Democrats using Facebook. So it just gets any better. Okay, so let's go on with her history lesson. So when I look at Palantir and what it is they're doing, like with WhatsApp, which is, and she points it out so everybody knows, it's another social media platform. Okay, thanks. We haven't heard of WhatsApp, but I guess it's a surprise to some people. And I look at where you are from the 2011 consent decree and where you are today. I'm thinking, is this guy outfoxing the foxes? So here's Mark Zuckerberg, who's got multi-billions of dollars, and this, I don't know, certainly not rocket scientist, but we can probably say a lackluster educated person talking about him outfoxing the foxes. Well, that would be like you and I outfoxing an ant probably, or a chicken. All right, so her outfoxing the foxes, or is he going along with a major trend in the information age where you harvest information for political forces? Really? Or do you think that that's what people who are running campaigns would hire you for? Okay, do you see other companies falling into the same situation in several years? Again, and the answer, I'm not sure. All right, so Zuckerberg goes on to say that he's not familiar with a lot of things that Palantir does. Okay, so the punchline in all of this is, are you ready for it? Maria Cantwell, in her last campaign, took $12,000 from Facebook. I'm not kidding. There's a link in the description below. But yeah, she took $12,000 from Mark Zuckerberg, and she's sitting there asking him all of these asinine questions. Well, at least you know why she's asking him the asinine questions. As you can see, we have really got to replace this woman, and that is one of the reasons I'm running for the Senate in Washington State. But the other reason, of course, is because I'm going to make a great senator, and I'm going to represent the people of Washington State well, and I'm going to get rid of all of these worthless, horrible government employees who just think that they can trounce on us because we can't sue them. So we're going to make a lot of changes. So anyway, this is Deceptions of the Ages News, and we'll see you next time.